You grew up amongst uncles who were big fans of Malcolm X.
I love Malcolm X,
Yeah,
yes. But
and
one in particular.
shout out to the one in particular. So Malcolm X once said that education is the passport towards the future because tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And you've done exactly that. You are using education as a tool towards helping the new generation who will obviously spearhead the future. I believe you were in Vietnam when you were watching a group of kids play football with this makeshift football, and that's when you first got the idea behind Kids Unplugged. And the main theme behind this is to ensure that kids have a healthy relationship with technology because there's a massive influx all around them and it's kind of stealing their childhood away from them. And you created Kids Unplugged at that point, which is not even a category in the licensing in
No.
UAE. You created edutainment, so thank you for that. So the first question that arises from this is, where do you think we're heading with our relationship with technology? Do you think it's inevitable that technology will be a continuous part of our life? Or another way of thinking is it possible that in 2050 there would be a child out there who can have a childhood without any connection to technology and not be left behind?
I mean, that's a very deep rooted question because there's so many scenarios that plays into that. And I think with the growth of Kids Unplugged and the Unplugged Initiative and everything that I do, it's become more evident that technology is a major part of everyone's life. And it's only going to get more and more major with all the time that we have. What I implement and what I really, really, really focus on is the importance of digital well-being, right? So like you and I, we were just before we started shooting, we were talking about like, where we were born and raised and everything like that. But if we talk about our childhood, a lot of what you're gonna tell me is play, you're outside, connecting with people, memories that even just thinking about it to make you smile a little bit. Even the less fortunate will always talk about like their childhood as being something that brought them joy. And I feel like with technology and with devices, what they've brought is this ultimate disconnect for young kids, right? That their joy is deep rooted in the connection of something. So, for example, a 2-year-old will not eat properly now because he can't eat without watching Paw Patrol or some type of TV show that he loves. Whereas a lot of our eating time was where we would learn about our different cultural foods, or different spices and different things. And then it would be the perfect time to sit as a family and eat. And that 2-year-old would spend time connecting with their family members and talking, right? Even if they didn't really say a lot of words, it'd be celebrated, it'd be connected. So not only does it take things away, it's really affecting the child's development. And that's where I come in. And I'm always kind of talking about, okay, how much of what they're doing is going to hinder their development for their next stages, right? So like when they're 4, when they're 10, how much of what's happening right now is going to affect them later on, because you don't necessarily see it now, right? With a lot of side effects, you don't see them immediately. I think the biggest side effect of technology is the disconnect that it brings to young kids. The social aspect of it, kids don't socialize with other kids anymore. They used to. They don't play outside as much anymore. They used to. So all of these things are because all these devices have now come in place of that. And that's where my biggest concern comes from in terms of like their childhood is being stolen. Like they are not having the childhood that they deserve to have because all of that is free. All of what I'm talking about is free. The devices are the ones that cost a lot of money to get, to download, to do all of these things. But it is free for a child to kick a ball around outside or run around outside or connect with the neighbors and have that confidence building and social interactions that they deserve to have. And then the other thing you were talking about is, can children have a childhood with no technology? I don't think that we're at a stage right now where we can completely take away all technology. And I don't think we should either, because I always say when you take something away from a child and you say, no, you can't have this one, you teach them 2 things, either to become a stealer or a beggar, right? Because everybody now has it. So they're either going to go steal a device from someone or they're going to go beg someone for something. So you don't want to instill the bad side effects of taking things away from your children. So I always say that they should have access to technology, but it should be age and stage, their age range, I can't talk today. It should be for their age and stage of development. A 1-year-old or any child under 1 year old shouldn't have any screen time, but 1 to 2 should have 15 minutes a day. 2 to 3 should have 30 minutes a day. and then 3 to 4 should have an hour supervised day. So all these things, there's a time limit to what they're supposed to be watching. And then when they are watching it, what's the content that they're watching? How is that benefiting their development? Are they watching something educational? Are they watching something with good use of language? Are they learning? Because they're at this age, especially when they're under 8 years old, where we call the programming years, where they're taking everything in, they're learning all these different behaviors, learning all these different things. And so when people play, let's say, for example, you've played a 3-year-old a new rap music video, and then you laugh and joke around when that child is now imitating what they've seen in that video. It's not funny. It's sad, because at the end of the day, what they're going to go do is imitate that to be something that's okay. Whereas if I watch the rap video at my 30 years of age and I imitate it, I know how to, utilize what I've learned. I'm not going to go to an office meeting and start sharing what I watched in a Cardi B music video, But kids don't know that. So all these mannerisms, these behaviors, these attitudes, all these things come from what they're watching and what they're seeing and what they're allowed to see. So it should definitely be something that I feel like parents should censor and should really take time into seeing. And I don't know if you've heard about that whole situation where they had that what was it called? It was like this digital monster thing that would come in halfway through a YouTube video. I can't remember her name. It was like a white, it was an animation. It was a white face with 2 eyes and a like scary mouth, whatever. And she'd come in to these videos that kids were watching and be like, okay, kids, in like such a child's voice. All right, kids, now I'm going to want you to stand up and go find an electricity plug and put your fingers and like do these things that will tell kids. No, I'm dead serious. I'm going to find Momo. I think it was called Momo.
Was this a hack or?
It was and it was on YouTube. It was on all these things. It was such a big controversy. It was 2019 that this had come out. And parents were freaking out because obviously these long videos that their kids are watching, if it's a 20-minute video, this video comes in or this person speaking comes in like 10 minutes, the adults are not likely to be in the room. Yeah, the first 5 minutes, the adults might be around, but afterwards they'll go and do what they're doing because their child is quiet right now. So you had all of these things that were happening. Mobile was just an example, but how many other things happen where they, kids can be accessed, or people can access kids watching all these different things, and then the content, if we don't listen to what's being said, kids are picking up all these different things. So digital well-being is incredibly important, and parents need to be really, really, really wary of what their kids are watching and how it's affecting them, not just now, but in the long run.